Yo, what's up guys? Teacher Paul up here, and today we are reacting to a very interesting video. It appears that the United States, more specifically California, is trying the Norwegian prison system. Now, this video that we're gonna react to, about to watch, was requested by Kiel or Shiel or Yell. I don't know, one of those three pronunciations. Well, I'm sorry, I'm trying to give a shout out, but correct me, how do I see your name? If you want to request a video, just buy me a coffee. Link is in the description or the pinned comment. And the comment says, "Hi Paul, being from Norway, I have seen many of your reactions and I have to say, you have learned a lot. Thank you." I have to agree on your reflections about the Norwegian society versus other places in the world regarding crimes and the criminals and the standards of living. Yes, that plays a big role also. It's the whole society, that's my opinion. Not only the prison system, but the mentality of the country itself. I found this video from a prison in California that are testing out the Norwegian system. They are calling it Prisneyland. So you can see that they're comparing a prison to Disneyland. Okay, see, that's how Americans see the Nordic or the Norwegian prisons, like Disneyland for prisoners. You know what I'm saying? So they're calling it Prisneyland in California, and we're about to watch and see what they have tried to implement and see if it's working in the United States. So thank you so much. I'm gonna say Shiel. Thank you so much for the coffee and, you know, the recommendation. You guys send me so many good videos, so if you want to request great videos, you can do so by using the link in the pinned comment. Okay, so this is wait, that's the thumbnail, right? I haven't watched the video, I just took the thumbnail from that part, but let's go. This is from the beginning of the video.
From a distance, it's exactly what you would expect. Big fence, barbed wire, and of course, gun towers, like a prison postcard or something.
So it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. We're about 10 minutes away from going inside to Valley State Prison, supposedly one of the most progressive prisons in all of the country. The nickname is Prisneyland, although from the outside, it looks pretty standard, but we'll see what the inside looks like. Let's go. Thank you.
Right inside, not much difference.
This is the deadly high voltage electric fence, apparently. Obviously, don't want to touch this.
But the more you get to know Prisneyland, which officials say some locals refer to it as, you realize the first barriers coming down aren't actually physical.
And as we were talking, we don't really call them inmates here.
Incarcerated individuals.
Incarcerated individuals.
And that's where the differences between this prison and others around California just begin. Violence plagues our country's system of incarceration.
Yeah,
when
that's
people
horrible.
get out, they have extreme difficulties finding a job. And while the data varies state by state, about half end up back in custody within a few years. All of that is why officials say the Golden State is trying to move in a new direction, starting a pilot program at 2 facilities with the goal to replicate the results in Scandinavia, where Norway says reforms over the last 2.5 decades have brought down the rate of reoffending within 2 years to only 20%, much lower than here in the US. They've also decreased the prison population significantly and have helped people reincorporate into society after they serve their time.
You have a key.
See, look, it's not about, my opinion is that it's not about the comfort. It's about putting the incarcerated individuals. Why do they need to change the the names? Man, I can't say that word. The names that they call the inmates. They're inmates. They're mates that are inside. I think treating them better is more efficient than just trying to not offend them with a different name. That's a very American thing. Like, you know, they're very sensitive on pronouns and how you call people and how do you nickname, you know. But inmates or individual, see, that's the thing. The first thing they changed was the name, the way they call them. Incarcerated individuals. Well, just call them people, you know, the people who live in the prison. the people who are imprisoned, because they are people anyways. But what I'm saying is that it's important to rehabilitate them, because when they go out, they're going to be your neighbors. So you want good neighbors, right? They're not going to stay in prison forever. So when they go out, they need to have a clear career path, and they need to feel bad about the actions before they take the actions, you know, kind of like work on their conscience. And being treated as humans makes them treat other people like humans. You teach empathy. You teach that the world and the system isn't against you. There are good people in the world. My only concern is that, is society or the companies gonna give them an opportunity? Because most things, or most companies, they ask for criminal records, and if they see that you do have a criminal record, then they won't hire you, right? So I'm wondering if the prison system is enough, because they will get their education, they will get, you know, whatever they need, but when they leave, what are the companies going to do to actually hire them? Is there going to be a quota, or like, I don't know, there must be something to help them, give them a second chance, you know what I'm saying? Or is there going to be a company where, you know, they are redirected, like, okay, so you studied in this prison, you have the certificate and the diploma of Prisneyland. Yeah, diploma of the University of Prisneyland. And then there are specific companies that sign up on the government website and say, we accept Prisneyland graduates. And then, you know, they go to these companies and they have a fair chance of, you know, doing a job interview. So I think that would be a good system. I think in Norway, companies are less judgmental, so it's easier for people to find a job even after going to prison. But in the United States, I feel like the judgment is really harsh, and people can't find jobs because they have a criminal record. So it would be an interesting idea if there are companies who are registered on the government website, like clearly stating that they accept people who graduated from prisons like this one, like Prisneyland, so that people have a better opportunity of finding jobs and not going back to, you know, this this life of crime.
Of their time.
You have a key to your own cell.
Yeah, everybody has their own key.
Authorities here say the most important thing they're trying to change at Valley State Prison is how it feels.
This is the central courtyard.
Yeah.
I feel very peaceful just looking at it.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Am I recording?
You're on, man.
Officials told us the only way to truly understand the reforms is by coming and experiencing them.
One of the principles of the California model is normalization, and the idea is we want to make the environment inside our institutions as normal as possible, with the goal of not releasing somebody who's institutionalized, but releasing citizens back to the community who have practiced normal pro-social behavior.
What about the argument that somebody might see this and say, well, isn't part of the goal punishment in some way? Why give them all of this nice stuff?
So I would say that people go to court to be punished. That's up to our judges and our juries. And when they come into our institutions, our goal is to basically help them become better citizens. So with that in mind, we are not in the punishment business. We're in the rehabilitative business.
I agree with that.
A big part of that rehabilitation, a wide array of programs where the population learns a variety of coping and calming skills.
And she is a good horse.
Did you know you were going to be grooming horses in prison?
No, to be honest, I thought I'd be stuck in a cell, maybe a few rehabilitation groups, but it helps me, you know, cope with, you know, a lot of stresses I deal with, you know, day to day here in prison.
The hope is that creating a more positive environment makes the men locked up here more willing to rehabilitate. Of the total incarcerated population of 3,000 here, the prison says 2,400 are enrolled in training or education programs, including high school and college.
This is something I mentioned on my previous videos. Some people don't have access to education. Some people don't have access to manners. You know, some people were born and bred for crime, for the streets. And some people were abused as children. Some people were mistreated as children. Some people never had love from their parents, only hate, only, you know, anger and anguish. So the life they know is that's the only life they know. Some people have never been educated. So I think these prisons offer a good opportunity to re-educate people, to teach them empathy, to teach them good manners, to teach them how to be a great person in society. And I think that's a great mentality, that's a great idea. And the fact that they're involving animals, I believe that nature and animals teach you how to be default. You know what I'm saying? Default, what I mean by that is the standard way of being civilized. Because when you take care of an animal, you learn how to be kind, you learn how to be humane, right? When you take care of an animal, that's what I'm saying. You learn how to, because the animals, they reciprocate with love also. When you take care of a dog, you develop these empathy traits and patience also, because there are some people that they are very angry, but when they see a cute dog, they calm down, and that's proven scientifically. You know, they release like hormones that are calming and soothing. Petting a dog is soothing. So I like this idea of involving animals as well. Let's see how this plays out, because the mentality is there. I love what they're doing with the mentality. What I don't agree, which I'm gonna see maybe, are the comfort levels. I believe in standard basic comfort. I don't think they need I saw them using like those, what you call those, Apple Pro or Apple Vision Pro. I don't know. I don't think they need that. They can very well learn or educate themselves on computers. I've never had any of those, so I don't know if we're going to see more of the facilities, but that's where the line for me is drawn. I think the mentality, the education, you know, the treatment, everything is on point. They should rehabilitate, and that will make better people. Because right now, some prisons, they create animals, they create monsters. Some people who committed white-collar crimes, which are like finance crimes, they go into these crazy hell prisons. They start getting addicted to a lot of different drugs. They start losing their sense of society, of, you know, civilization, and they start being aggressive and more violent. And then when they leave, they're an intelligent criminal and violent criminal. So before they were just intelligent doing white collar. Now they're violent, intelligent, and they have the experience and, you know, with a lot of addictions. So that's a recipe for disaster. So I think the mentality is great, but as I said, I don't think civilians should live in a worse condition than the prison mates, the inmates, the individual the incarcerated individuals, as they're calling it here. You know, that's where I draw the line. I believe in more comfort for hardworking citizens, more benefits for hardworking citizens than people who are committing crimes.
This day is the first day of the rest of our lives. We can start our day at any time.
When you came in and you saw what this was, what was your impression?
I thought I was going to come to prison and get worse, but coming to prison actually saved my life.
Wow. Say it again.
Coming to prison saved my life.
Since they started running these programs in 2017, Valley State Prison says it's reduced violence compared to other peer facilities. According to reports from the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, prisons across the state have seen between 15 and 32 homicides total each year between 2017 and 2021. At Valley State, 0. and only one recorded
Nice.
assault or battery against staff versus the hundreds at other facilities.
Get in the middle, you guys are gonna
See, that's the thing. When
Most
you're in
successful programs
when you're in a relaxed state, you tend to lash out less. You know, when you're comfort, as I said, you don't need all of those fancy Xbox Vision Pros. You don't need all of that. But in any case, when you have basic comfort, good food, you know, liberty to walk and have like a fresh air, and you reduce your stress levels, then you lash out less, you're less aggressive, you know, and you're more hopeful, you're less frustrated. So yeah, obviously the violence is going to drop. So that's just, it's nice to see the results here.
One of the most successful programs is dog training. Inmates working with puppies to become service dogs, eventually sent to help people across the country.
You know, for a long time, we were releasing citizens back into the community that had not improved their
love this so
thought
much.
process. They had not rehabilitated from their behavior, and they go out and reoffend. And so when you start to introduce rehabilitative programs, when you start to introduce hope into this community, you really are transforming their thought process.
We followed a few of the dog trainers back to their cells. The doors lock from the outside, but they look a little more like something else.
Feels like a dorm.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah. Did you expect that when you came in?
See, look at this. Look at the cell. The cell still looks like a prison. So I think United States is doing the right thing here. They're getting what is the best from Norway, but they're still keeping the comfort at the basic level. That's what I agree with. I agree with the mentality, with the treatment. I don't agree with punishment or physical violence. And I also don't agree with giving them extra comfort, more than a normal citizen would have. So you can see that it's still a prison cell. You know, it's still a prison cell. It looks like a prison cell. And I believe this is enough, because the re-education and rehabilitation is much more important than, you know, giving them sushi or an Xbox or whatever, you know, things that we've seen in other prisons. So yeah, I like this idea a lot. I really think it will make a difference. And if they do commit violence inside, then they're going to be transferred to a worse prison, and nobody wants that. So they're training their conscience. They are already knowing. They already know, if I do something bad here, I'm going to go to a worse prison. I'm going to lose my privileges. I'm going to lose this, you know, this blessing of a prison. You know what I'm saying? And that trains them to think consciously in real life. Before they commit another crime, they're going to think, no, I have a good chance of having something here. So I like this a lot.
But they look a little more like something else.
Feels like a dorm.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah. Did you expect that when you came in?
No.
So right now we are walking your dog past the pool table back to your spot in prison. It's pretty wild. So is this like the dog wing? It almost feels like, to a lot of people that might watch this, that
They're too easy on it.
yes.
See, look, he has access to a computer, but it's a very old Dell laptop. He has access to like maybe a locker room, but it's a standard locker room. You don't see a flat screen TV. You don't see, you know, luxury. And I don't think criminals should have access to the luxury. And another thing that comes into play is the budget, right? When a country is as rich as Norway, Norway has access to a lot of funds. And it's a smaller country, and it has a smaller population. The United States has a bigger population. It's a bigger country. So, but also it's a bigger, is it a bigger economy? I think the United States is the biggest economy, but I think the GDP in Norway is also bigger. So the standard of living in Norway is bigger also. So when you have limited funds, then this is more appropriate, you know. it still looks like a prison. So I think this is the right balance, and let's see if it works, if it has the same results as in Norway. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you think prisoners should have access to luxury. But I believe in treating people normally, and what is normal is that most people don't have access to luxury. Most people don't have access to Apple Vision Pros. That's what most people don't have access to a professional recording studio, you know, and that's not a true depiction of reality. This is more normal, because especially like if you go to a normal gym, you're gonna have this type of facility also. I don't know, maybe in Norway you have like better quality facilities in a gym, but normally even police academies, they have this type of locker, you know. Sometimes like you get this type of standard computer at your workplace, you know.
I would say no, because a lot of us worked our ways down.
Sure.
So I came from a higher level, and it took me 7 years to come down to this.
Wow. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. They worked for it. They worked for it, and they were rewarded for their good behavior.
The dog wing, it almost feels like to a lot of people that might watch this that
they're too easy on it.
Yes.
I would say no, because a lot of us worked our ways down.
Sure.
So I came from a higher level, and it took me 7 years to come down to this.
People that are going to see this and say, shouldn't prison be a punishment? In some way. It should be reformation too, but it should also be, it should suck, right?
But he said he spent 7 years being punished, and then he showed that he deserves a second chance, right? So there was 7 years of punishment. He was imprisoned for 7 years, and now he got into this. It wasn't like, oh, he committed a crime and then went straight to luxury. No, he worked his way into it, and I believe in that. That's a good reward for your good behavior. And I think people do change. It's been 7 years, you know, whatever he had 7 years ago, he's been able to reflect, he's been able to, you know, rehabilitate, and now he's in a system that will give him even more opportunity so he can go back into society and be a better person. It's just, you know, it makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense is if he commits a crime and goes straight to this prison, then I don't think that's fair. I think he should go into a tougher prison, show that he is an actual good person, and then go into a system exactly the way it happened here.
Yeah, so this doesn't suck.
It does suck.
It does suck. Okay, tell me why.
It does suck, right? I don't get to hug my family. Right. Would you rather want somebody coming out and getting reformed, or somebody coming in and getting out the same way they came in, or worse?
See, even they have this mentality.
After taking us to Prisneyland, is joining us now. We are so grateful to you for bringing us that inside look with that rare access, Steve. So here's a question, right? And some of those numbers, pretty noteworthy that you talked about as it relates to this particular facility. What about if one of the goals is to prevent reoffenders from coming back into the prison system? Is that actually working? Is it helping some of these incarcerated individuals, as they call them, lead more productive lives after they get out?
You know, I think it's important to say all of this is still too early in the program's life. Okay. We're still in the proof of concept territory, right? This is a pilot program at 2 of the state's more than 30 prisons. What does it look like when you scale that up? We just don't know yet. What I can say, though, is that the early data is really promising. The stories that we've heard both in the inside and the outside speak volumes. And it's so important because we were able to get that access. So there's so much more reporting that we've done on this, from the women's prison across the street to some of the vocations training that they're doing, to a guy who was released from behind bars after more than 10 years. All of that, including some more of the data, I can't wait to share with you. Allie.
We can't wait to see it more here on this show, Steve. We're going to have you right back here next week. Thank you so much, friend. Really appreciate all the hard work and time that you and your team and your producer, PJ, have put into this. Thanks.
Thanks for watching.
Okay, I'm actually very excited and very hopeful for this program because I believe in reform. I believe in rehabilitation. And if it's like that, you know what? I think the system should have levels. I know I talk about comfort and not being, you know, comfortable talking about luxury, but I think at the end of the day, I think there should be levels. I think there should be a level 5 for people who are fresh in prison, where they will have the very basic of basics, you know, which doesn't involve punishment, but involves like having nothing at all, nothing. And then level 4, where you have a little bit of access to other things, and then level, or maybe even 3 levels, right? So you work your way up into a prison like this. So so for good behavior, you kind of like level up like a school system, right? If you pass your exams, then you go, like life in itself, you know. We don't, well, most of us are not born into luxury families or a luxury life. We have to work our way up, you know. We have to work hard to buy our stuff, to buy our cars, to buy our houses. We need to work hard for that, to have a more comfortable life. 10 years ago, my life was so much more difficult than today. 20 years ago, bro, I think I started my first job, and life got a little bit more serious. I think I can't remember 20 years ago exactly, but I know that as soon as I started working 9 to 5, actually it wasn't even 9 to 5, you know, because you have to wake up, like I had to travel 2 hours to get to work, 2 hours to go, 2 hours to come back. I remember I used to just work, like leave home at around 6 or 7, come back around 11, 12, midnight, and then just fall on my bed and sleep, you know. And I remember after I actually managed to get a bit of experience, and I opened my own school, private school, for, because you guys know I'm a teacher, right? So that was kind of like the best part that I achieved in my life, where I was able to work for myself, self-employed. So I opened up a school. It was a private school, right? It was just for English teaching. And but I remember that wasn't easy either. Even though I didn't have a boss, I had to be, like I had to give out pamphlets like 5, 6 a.m. You know, when people were going into work, I was giving out pamphlets because I had a class, because I had a class at 8 a.m. So from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. or 7:45, I was in front of the subways and the, you know, metros, giving out pamphlets, so people would come and study at my school. So what I'm saying is essentially, you have to work hard to have these things. When I see a criminal commit a crime, they're judged, they're condemned, you know, they are guilty, and then they go to a luxury prison. I don't agree with that. But when I see a prisoner that spent 5 years showing their good behavior, showing their, you know, that they're changed, and then going to a luxury prison, then I'm okay with that, because he's been working towards a better life. He's working to you know, he's accepting the program. He's changing his ways, he's changing his mentality. So I agree with the whole system where people should work for this type of thing. So I love the fact this video was perfect. It didn't show extraordinary comfort or luxury, and it showed prisoners that worked hard 7 years to get down to that facility, you know. I love that, you know. I like this, and I agree with this a a little bit more than the extra luxury that we saw in the Bastøy. Was it Bastøy? So I think we can find a middle ground. I think the Norwegian system is perfect, the mentality is perfect, but the facilities is overpowered, I think. And I've said that so many times. So, but I think it works for Norway. But I think this is the way. So I do apologize to everyone who was offended if I said that this might not work in my country. What I should have said is that this prison alone may not work in my country, and the way it is at the moment. So if we adapt, it may very well work in my country, but a few tweaks should happen. As I said, also for the United States, I think a few tweaks with the government having a list of companies that will hire ex-prisoners. So a few tweaks, you know, then it will work. Because it's a different country, it's a different society, it's a different standard of living, it's a different, there would be different receptions. You know, I don't think anybody would be rioting or you know, opposing this type of system in Norway as much as in the United States or as much as in Brazil, because I know that there would be a lot of riots, people like really against the luxury. So to avoid the population having a mental breakdown, then I think an explanatory video or people explaining what the prison is and not showing any luxury, just explaining the mentality, I think that would work in my country. You guys know I'm from Brazil, right? So yeah, I think it might work if there are a few tweaks. It will work, I'm sure, if it goes to Brazil one day. And I'm hoping it works in the United States because, you know, the reoffending is really high and the number of incarcerations is really high also. So this might be the solution, making people better, making better neighbors. Thank you guys for watching. Buy me a coffee if you wanna request a video. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Now you can get full access to exclusive content, special reactions to shows, series, anime, full movies, and even request a video of your choice. Just become a YouTube member or join Buy Me a Coffee today. Find out more, the link is in the description.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right.